I never thought I'd kill for a signature. But there I was. My fingers, her fingers, trembling over the dotted line that would erase me forever. My parents' eyes bored into mine, not with love, but with the cold calculus of legacy, whispering, "Stay quiet, Audrey, or we all burn." In that sterile conference room overlooking the Hudson, as the ink bled black against white, I realized silence was just another grave they'd dug for me, and I was done lying in it. It started 6 months earlier, back when I still owned my reflection. New York City in the fall, crisp air slicing through the canyons of Midtown like a reminder that nothing here comes easy. I was Audrey Hale, 32. The quiet engine behind Hale Biotech's neural mapping division. We'd cracked it, a prototype for body interface tech that could let surgeons swap perspectives during operations, guiding prosthetics or even minds through neural bridges. Revolutionary stuff, whispered about in boardrooms from Silicon Alley to the Beltway. My parents, Victor and Elaine Hale, built the empire on gene therapies. But I was the one who'd pushed us into the future. Late nights in the lab, coffee-fueled marathons soldering circuits, chasing that eureka moment when a rat's brain synced with another's without a hitch. My sister, Lila, was the face. Golden girl, Vassar grad with a Wharton MBA, all sharp cheekbones and sharper elbows. She handled investor calls, schmoozed at galas in the Hamptons, her laugh like champagne bubbles popping for the right crowd. We weren't close, never had been. Mom and Dad's favorites came in flavors, Lila for the spotlight, me for the shadows. "You're the brains, Daddy," Dad would say, clapping my shoulder like it was a consolation prize. Lila's the charm that seals the deal. The shares hit like a gut punch. $1.2 million worth, sliced from the family trust and funneled straight to Lila's portfolio. It was supposed to be mine. My division's patents were the golden goose, projected to balloon Hale stock by 40% come IPO. But over Sunday dinner at the Upper East Side brownstone, Dad slid the papers across the linen tablecloth, his voice low and gravelly from too many cigars. "Lila's taking the lead on the neural bridge rollout. She's got the connections. You understand, right?" I didn't. Not then. Mom's eyes darted to the crystal chandelier, avoiding mine, while Lila sipped her Merlot with that cat that ate the canary smirk. "It's business. AUD. Don't take it personal." Personal? It was my blood in those circuits, my sweat funding their Hamptons weekends. But I swallowed it, like always. Family first. Hale first. That's when the whisper started. Late-night voicemails from Dad. "We need you to sign off on some adjustments. Old lab expenses. IRS is sniffing around. Adjustments?" I dug in, pulling server logs from the archives. What I found buried in encrypted folders made my stomach drop. Embezzlement. Dad had siphoned $4.7 million from R&D slush funds, laundering it through offshore shells to cover gambling debts in Atlantic City. Mom knew, hell, she'd signed the wire transfers. And the kicker? A decade ago, when I was fresh out of MIT, I'd fronted for a minor data breach cover-up. They pinned it on me. Let me take the heat from regulators so the company could pivot without scandal. I lost a fellowship, my name muddied in academic circles, all to keep the Hale name pristine. Betrayal doesn't hit like a thunderclap. It seeps in, cold and insidious, like fog off the East River. I confronted them in Dad's study, the air thick with leather-bound ledgers and Scotch fumes. "You used me as your fall guy. And now this. Dad's face hardened, veins bulging like rivers on a map. You were young.
Audrey.
Impulsive. We protected you. Protected? I'd carried that lie for 10 years. Watching job offers dry up while Lila climbed. Mom wrung her hands, pearl necklace twisting like a noose. We're family. We fix this together. Lila walked and then, heels clicking like verdict gavel. Or we don't. Sign the shares over.
AUD.
Clean slate. Her eyes, mirror of mine. But colder. Like winter glass held no remorse. Just hunger. That night, I drove the FDR in the rain. Wipers slashing shadows. Wondering if jumping the guardrail would feel like freedom or just another quiet they demanded. The swap happened 2 weeks later. In a black site lab under the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Not the polished demo rooms with their VR headsets and ethical waivers. No. This was the underbelly, where prototypes crossed into forbidden. Lila had pulled strings. Called in a favor from a rogue neuroengineer named Kessler, a disgraced ex-DARPA guy with a grudge and a god complex. It's temporary, she lied. Syringe in hand. Her breath hot against my ear as they strapped me down. Just long enough for the board vote. Then we switched back.
Temporary, my ass.
The neural bridge wasn't ready for humans, rats only, and even those fried half the time. But they doped me with midazolam. The room blurring into strobe lights and monitors beeping like accusatory heartbeats. Pain first. A lightning fork splitting my skull.
Then.
Nothing. Blackness. Vast as the void between stars. When I woke, it was in her body, Lila's body, staring at my own face in the mirror. Her green eyes wide with my terror. Welcome to the other side. Sis, my voice, her voice, purred from my old lips. Lila, in my skin, adjusted the lab coat like it was couture. You'll thank me later. They dumped me in a safe house upstate, a drafty farmhouse off Route 9, with a burner phone and instructions, stay quiet.
Heal.
We'll call when it's done.
Heal.
Her nerves screamed. Phantom itches where synapses misfired. I couldn't walk straight for days. Legs buckling like a newborn foal's. But worse was the isolation. The gnawing realization. This wasn't a swap.
It was a theft.
Days bled into weeks. I paced the creaky floors, piecing it together from smuggled news clippings and Kessler's leaked emails I'd hacked on a scavenged laptop. Lila, wearing me like a mask, charmed the board, locked in the shares. 1.2 million. Wired clean to her, my accounts. But the secret ran deeper. Dad's embezzlement wasn't just debts. It was a cover for something uglier. Human trials. Unsanctioned. On the streets of the Bronx, homeless vets dosed with early neural bridges, their minds scrambled for data. And I'd signed off me, the fall guy again, forged docs in my name. Rage crystallized then, sharp as the frost on the farmhouse windows. I wasn't just losing money, I was losing me. My life. My work. My goddamn face. Lila's body felt wrong. Too lithe. Too poised. Her manicured nails like claws I couldn't shed. I trained in secret, forcing the limbs to obey. Running trails through the Catskills until blisters burst and lungs burned. American grit. They call it, turning pain into fuel. I'd need it. First move. Infiltrate. Kessler's lab had backdoors. I knew the codes from my old life. Slipping into Brooklyn at midnight. Hood up against the chill. I posed as a ghost, Lila's ghost, using her biometrics from stolen prints. The engineer was there, hunched over consoles, his face a map of regrets. "Audrey," he stammered, eyes flicking to the door. I grab his collar. Her voice a whip. "Swap me back. Now." He laughed, bitter as black coffee.
Can't.
Bridge is one way, without a full rig. Lila took the portable unit, DARPA black box. She's got the power now. Power. That's what it boiled down to. Lila wasn't just stealing shares, she was rewriting the will. Dad's health was failing, prostate cancer. Stage 4, and with me incapacitated, she positioned herself as heir apparent. Mom? Complicit. Whispering in her ear like Lady Macbeth in pearls. I left Kessler alive, but not untouched. A data dump to his inbox, every unsanctioned trial log, every fried brain scan. "Leak it," I hissed. "Or I make you the star." Controversial? Hell yes. Ruining lives to reclaim mine. But in the underbelly of New York, morality's just another luxury good. Back in the farmhouse, plans coalesced. Revenge isn't a sprint, it's a siege. I reached out to old lab techs, ghosts from my past, buying loyalty with crypto drips and promises of whistleblower gold. 1. A kid named Marco from Queens smuggled me a jury-rigged bridge, crude, volatile, but enough to ghost into networks. I watched Lila live my life, her in my apartment on the Lower East Side, schmoozing at industry mixers, even dating that venture capitalist I'd ghosted. My body, her playground. The hooks sank deeper when I found the emails. Lila to Mom, "Audrey's always been weak. This way, we save the company." Save us. Weak? I'd carried their sins on my back for years. The crime I'd borne, the breach cover-up, wasn't minor. It hid early human tests that left a whistleblower catatonic. They'd framed me to bury him, and now Lila was polishing the crown. Decision time. Controversial as hell. Burn it all. I leaked Kessler's files to a podcaster in Brooklyn, the kind who thrives on corporate rot. Hail Biotech's body swap scandal, the headline screamed 2 days later. Stocks dipped 8%. Lila in my skin, faced the cameras, voice steady, fabrications from a disgruntled ex-employee, but cracks showed. Dad's hospital calls increased, his voice a rasp. "Fix this, Lila." Before Audrey finds out, she knew I was stirring. A burner pinged, "Stay quiet, or we make the swap permanent."
Permanent.
Like erasing a hard drive. I laughed, the sound foreign in her throat. No more quiet. The climax brewed in the boardroom, that glass airy high above the Hudson. I'd clawed my way back, bribing a janitor for access, slipping in as maintenance with forged creds. Lila sat at the head, my face a mask of authority, parents flanking like sentinels. The vote was today, full control to Audrey Hale, shares locked. I waited in the vents, heart hammering like a trapped animal. Timing it to the blackout, power surge I'd rigged via Marco. The room plunged dark. Chaos, shouts, chairs scraping. Then light from my phone, a single beam cutting the gloom. "Lila," I said, stepping out, her body taut as a bowstring. Gasps rippled. My old face twisted, her confusion. Then horror. "What the?" Surprise. "Sis." I held the portable bridge, Kessler's black box, humming with illicit charge. Time to trade back. Dad lunged, but Mom held him, eyes wide with something like awe or fear.
Audrey. Don't.
This will destroy us.
Us.
I laughed.
Bitter.
You destroyed me first. The air crackled as I activated it. Needles pricking skulls in tandem. Pain again. That fork lightning. Bodies convulsing on the carpet. When it cleared, I was me, awkward limbs. Familiar aches. Lila blinked from across the table. Her own face pale. Stripped bare. You bitch, she spat. Scrambling up. But the boardroom doors burst. SEC agents, tipped by the podcaster's trail. Audrey Hale, the lead barked. I nodded. Voice mine at last. That's me. And I've got the receipts. Handcuffs clicked. Lila's empire crumbled in flashes, embezzlement charges, trial logs unsealed, human rights suits from the Bronx shadows. Dad confessed in the ambulance. Mom folded like cheap origami. 1.2 million?
Seized.
Funneled to victims' funds. Hale Biotech? Gutted. Sold for parts. But revenge's aftertaste is ash. As I walked the Hudson Esplanade weeks later, free but fractured, a final email pinged from Lila. In county lockup. You think you won? Check the trust amendment. It was always mine. Twist like a knife. The shares weren't stolen. They were bait. Dad's real secret? He wasn't my father. Lila's, my half-sister.
Yes.
But from Mom's affair with the company founder. The man whose patents I'd built on. I'd been the placeholder. The biokid engineered in vitro to mask the truth. The swap? Not theft. But mercy, Lila trying to spare me the board's purge when the DNA test leaked. I stood there. Wind whipping my coat. The city lights mocking my victory. Had I reclaimed justice? Or just danced in their puppet strings? Call it Pyrrhic. Call it poetic. But in America's grind, winners still bleed, and I was finally feeling every drop. The fallout hit like a nor'easter off Long Island Sound, fierce, unrelenting, stripping everything bare. I thought swapping back would stitch me whole. But bodies remember. Mornings woke me gasping. Synapses firing wrong. Like echoes in an empty subway tunnel. Therapists called it neural dissonance, prescribed beta blockers and mindfulness apps. But pills don't erase the ghost of someone else's stride. The way Lila's hips swayed unbidden when I passed a mirror. New York didn't care. The city chews souls and spits out husks. I moved to a walk-up in Bushwick. Traded lab coats for freelance gigs decoding data for startups. But the Hale name clung like tar. Lila's trial dominated the feeds, court TV specials. Reddit rabbit holes dissecting every lie. Sister swap scandal. Biotech heir or Frankenstein fraud? Pundits bayed. Was it innovation or abomination? Feminists decried the catfight narrative, ignoring how Mom's complicity greased the wheels. I testified. Voice steady under fluorescence. Laying out the embezzlement trail. The unsanctioned trials that left Jamal Ruiz, a Gulf War vet, mumbling shadows in a VA ward. They used us as prototypes, I said. His photo projected large, eyes hollow. Dignity stripped. The jury winced. America loves a villain, but hates the mirror. She got 8 years. Federal time in Danbury. Visitation was a steel table under buzzing lights. Her face thinner, stripped of that predatory glow. You happy now? Ayudi? She asked, voice a rasp from lack of sleep. I leaned in, close enough to smell the institutional soap. Happy?
No.
But even?
Getting there.
Truth was the twist nod. That email, her taunt about the trust, led me to the brownstone basement, rifling safety deposit boxes while Mom nursed Dad's hospice bed. Documents yellowed with age. Mom's affair with Harlan Voss, the founder, a silver fox who died in '05, leaving Hale to Dad in a hostile takeover. Lila was his blood, engineered into the will via backroom deals.
Me?
IVF spare, a diversity hire for optics, first black lead in neural tech.
Check.
They dangled the shares to keep me loyal. But Lila, ever the chess master, saw the long game, swapped to expose the fraud, frame it as my breakdown. Save the company, her email read in full. You're too soft for the dirt. Soft? I'd torched it all. Hale stock cratered 62%. Layoffs rippled from Jersey labs to California cleanrooms. Marco, my queen's fixer, ghosted after a whistleblower bounty. Kessler ate his gun in a Queens motel. Note blaming the sisters' war. Controversial decisions echo mine. Leaking to that podcast sparked copycats, hacktivists dumping pharma secrets, street protests outside J&J Towers. Audrey Hale started the fire. They chanted, some hailing me vigilante, others doxing my new address with pipe bomb threats. Dad died in March. Rain lashing the cathedral windows at St.
Patrick's.
Mom clutched my hand during the eulogy, her diamonds dull under grief's patina. He loved you.
Audrey.
In his way. His way, a codicil in the will, probated quiet. $500K to me, not shares, but cash. For the daughter who carried the load.
Load.
Like I was Atlas, not their pawn. I burned the check in the Hudson, watched embers dance like fireflies, wondering if absolution floats or sinks. Summer brought heat waves, the kind that turns concrete to griddle, tempers to tinder. I dove into reconstruction, freelance neural audits for ethical startups, testifying before Congress on consent in cognitive tech. Senators nodded. Cameras flashed. But backroom whispers said it. Hale girls got baggage. Lila wrote from lockup. Letters in her looping script. You think you're free? Mom's next. The affair tapes. Voss's revenge porn stash. She buried them with Dad. Buried. Like the bodies in our bloodline. Decision loomed. Dark as a blackout. Dig them up? Expose Mom. Shatter the matriarch. Leave her rotting in scandal's glare? Or bury deeper? Let the sins compost into something like peace? I drove to Atlantic City. Boardwalk ghosts under neon haze. Slots chiming like false promises. Dad's old haunt, Borgata. High roller suite where debts snowballed. The croupier recognized the name. Slid me a comp scotch. Hale, tough break on the sis. She ever hit these tables, Lila?
No.
She was the calculator, not the gambler. But in that haze, epiphany, revenge cycles. I'd swapped to reclaim, leaked to avenge. But each turn tightened the noose. Back in Brooklyn, I hired a PI, ex-NYPD, grizzled as the Gowanus. Find the tapes, I said, wiring half my savings. He delivered in a week. Voss's cloud drive. Cracked via Kessler's old backdoors. Videos grainy. Intimate Mom young. Desperate. Voss's hands possessive. Blackmail fodder.
Yes.
But human. Broken. Confrontation at the brownstone. Labor Day barbecue smoke curling like accusations. Relatives milled. Cousins from Philly. Aunts with Botox smiles, oblivious to the rot. Mom poured Chardonnay. Her laugh brittle. Audrey. Darling. You look rested. I pulled her to the library. Screens flickering with stills. Her face drained, pearls clacking as she sank into wingback.
How?
Doesn't matter. I clicked play. Audio tinny. Voss's growl. Mom's please. Destroy it. Please. Her eyes, mirrors of mine, finally cracked. I did it for us. Harlan promised the company. But Victor. He took it. I had to protect Lila.
You. Protect.
The word soured. By swapping me out? Framing me for your messes? Tears tracked her rouge. Lila insisted. Said you'd never forgive the truth, that you're not his. Not his. The BioKid bomb again. I laughed. Hollow. And you let her play God with my body? She reached.
Tentative.
Forgive me? Controversial. Walk away. Let her drown in it. Or pull her up. Chain myself to the wreck. I deleted the files. Drive worrying to blank. One condition.
Sell the brownstone.
Fund the victims. All of it. She nodded. Broken but breathing. America forgives reinvention. Look at the Trumps. The Weinsteins clawing back. But I walked out into the dusk. Relatives' chatter fading. The city of beasts sated for now. Fall deepened. Leaves carpeting Central Park like confetti from a funeral. Lila's appeals dragged, pro bono lawyers spinning duress, painting her the victim of patriarchal greed. I got subpoenaed again. This time deposition in Foley Square. Facing her across Oak. Why, Goody? She whispered when mics cut. I was saving you from the fall. Saving? I leaned in. Our faces, sisters, twins in betrayal, inches apart. You wore me like a coat. Stole my life for your crown. Her eyes, so like mine,
Flickered.
our crown. Mom's tapes. I knew. Plan the swap to tank it all. Expose Dad before he dragged us under. You were collateral. Collateral. The twist inverted again. Her cunning. Not malice, but a blade aimed at the patriarch. Had I misread the board? Power plays in boardrooms aren't black and white. They're LED gray. I perjured nothing, testified truth. Watched her sentence stand. But leaving, elevator descent like a gut drop, doubt seated. Winter whispered in, first snow dusting the Williamsburg Bridge. Mom sold the brownstone. Checks cleared to Ruiz's fund. Others emerging, test subjects with scarred psyches. Family shattered. I visited Jamal. VA rec room smelling of bleach and despair. Heard about you, he grunted. Cards shuffling slow. Brought down the house. I shrugged. Tried. His laugh rasped. Hell of a try. Climax redux, not in glass towers, but quiet wars. Lila's final letter arrived Christmas Eve. Postmarked Danbury. Merry Christmas,
Sis.
Check the safe deposit. Dad's last gift. For the real heir. I went alone. Vault cold as a tomb. Inside, a neural bridge prototype. Refined, bidirectional. Safe. And a note. Build better.
Ha.
Dad's scrawl. He'd known the swap. Greenlit it through Kessler. But the device? My redemption arc. Perhaps. Or his. I pocketed it. Walked into the flurry. Snowflakes melting on lashes. Revenge's end? No tidy bow. I'd gutted the empire, freed the ghosts, but chains lingered, neural echoes, family fractures. Yet in that white hush, choice. Hoard it, or share. Controversial still, unleash the tech. Risk more swaps. More souls bartered? Or shelve it. Let the dead bury dead? I hailed a cab, headed to a Brooklyn hackerspace. Prototype humming in my bag. America thrives on disruption. Maybe I'd disrupt right. Spring thawed the Hudson. Ice floes crumbling like old grudges. But winter's chill clung to my bones. The hackerspace buzzed. Coders and hoodies. 3D printers whirring like caffeinated bees. My new tribe. Far from Hale's sterile halls. I dubbed the prototype Echo. Stripped the military edges. Open-sourced the blueprints with kill switches for ethics. No more black boxes, I told the circle. Faces lit by screens. Marco showed. Tentative fist bump. Boss lady's back. Not boss. Survivor. Word spread. TEDx invites. Wired profiles. The woman who swapped to save her soul. Controversy flared. Ethicists cried hubris. Transhumanists hailed messiah. Fox called me anti-capitalist witch hunt. MSNBC. Feminist reckoning. I dodged the spotlight. But it found me. Protests outside my talks. Signs waving body autonomy now, or Hale's Frankenstein lives. One night. Post-lecture at NYU. A brick through the window. Note attached. Quiet. Or swap permanent. Lila's ghost? Or Dad's? I beefed security. But paranoia prickled. Every reflection a potential thief. Mom faded to Florida. Condo in Boca. Weekly calls laced with regret. Proud of you. Audrey.
Proud.
The words sat funny. Like shoes on wrong feet. She sent clippings. Lila's prison blog. Neural notes from the inside. Ghost-ridden screeds on corporate sin. Readers ate it. Manifesto chic. Summer scorched again. Air thick as conspiracy. Echo trials started small, consent forms thicker than war tomes, linking minds for therapy. Not takeover. First subject, Ruiz. Jamal. Eyes wary but willing. If it fixes this fog, he said, strapping in. The bridge hummed. My neural map guiding his, memories bleeding. Sandstorms in Fallujah. Hale's needle prick. My own swap agony. He surfaced gasping. Tears tracking. Saw you fight. Felt it. We cried. Ugly and American. In that linoleum room. Success rippled. Grants poured. Clinics sprouted from Boston to the Bay. But power corrupts. Whispers of black market echoes. Swaps for espionage. The idle rich trading youth like stocks. I cracked down, but cracks widened. Then the call, Kessler's widow. Voice quavering over landline. He left files. For you. Drive-by drop in a Red Hook lot. USB cold as evidence. Logs unspooled nightmares. Dad's trials were rogue. Pentagon funded. Black budget bridges for enhanced interrogation. Lila knew. Leveraged it for the swap rig. Twist inverted once more. She'd staged the boardroom chaos. Tipped the SEC to purge the military ties. Positioning me, us, as martyrs. Clean break, her old email clarified in the margins. Martyr? I'd played pawn again. My revenge the spark for her long con. Rage reignited. But tempered steel. Not fire. I leaked the mill contracts to The Intercept. Headlines screaming, Hale's Shadow Wars. Suits in Arlington scrambled. Audits hit. Mom confessed over FaceTime. Face pixelated in sunset glow. Victor was CIA adjunct. The swaps. Test runs for assets. Assets. Like we were drones. Climax brewed in Danbury. Visitors' booth steel and sterile. Lila across plexi. Jumpsuit orange as warning. You get the files? She asked. Receiver greasy. I nodded. Throat tight. Why not tell me? Her laugh. Echo of mine. You'd have bailed. Too moral.
AUD.
Someone had to burn it down. Moral. The accusation stung. My leaks. My deletions. All half measures. And the shares. I pressed. Bait. She leaned close. Eyes fierce. To lure you in. Draw the vultures board. Feds. Dad's ghosts. We split it even now. Post-trial settlements. Even. The word dangled. Controversial as a plea deal. Walk away. Let her rot? Or bargain? Chain us in uneasy alliance? I hung up. Decision crystallizing in the parking lot drizzle. America loves redemption arcs, prodigal daughters, family reunions under fireworks. But ours? Fractured mosaic. I lawyered up, petitioned for her commutation, framed as whistleblower aid, not forgiveness. Governor's office hummed, politics chewed, spat partial, parole in 5, supervised. Fall foliage blazed, Catskills trails calling. I hiked the ones from my farmhouse exile, legs sure now, body mine. At the overlook, city distance smudge. Phone buzzed, settlement wired. $600K each. Victims first. Lila's share? Earmarked for echo clinics. Her name scrubbed. Winter solstice. Shortest day. Longest shadows. Mom hosted neutral ground. Jersey Shore rental. Waves crashing like unresolved chords. We three, me. Lila on ankle monitor. Mom with Merlot tremors. No toast. Just truths unpacked like holiday baggage. I failed you both, Mom said. Voice small. Lila snorted. Understatement. I watched them, sisters in fracture, daughters in debt, wondering if blood mends or binds. Ending? No tidy tragedy. No fairy tale happily. Lila vanished post-parole, rumored to Vancouver coders, building bridges in exile. Mom downsized to assisted living, volunteering at ethics boards.
Me?
Echo Institute director, swearing in fresh ethicists under fluorescent vows. Success metrics, brains synced, not stolen, lives reclaimed, not swapped. But nights, Hudson glittering black. Doubt whispers, did I avenge? Or just perpetuate? The shares, 1.2 million ghosts, fund scholarships now. For kids like me, biospares with fire. Controversial still, was Lila villain or visionary? Betrayer or savior? Readers debate in comments. Forums alight. Audrey's the real monster. No. Family first. I pen this. Fingers mine. Reflection steady. Revenge taught. Powers illusion. Bodies temporary. Truths elastic. In America's tense hum, boardrooms to backstreets, we swap roles daily, seeking quiet that never comes. But plans? I have others. Always.